Hey, Jeremy Anderson here with the Oregon Ministry Network, your finance director and leader of Synergy. I want to take the next few minutes to talk to you about the chart of accounts. In the following minutes, Jasmine's going to explain the nuts and bolts and the specifics behind the accounts. But I want to take the next minute or so to explain the importance behind why it is that we use the chart of accounts. As the treasurer, the assistant, or the lead pastor, as you have the bills laid out in front of you or the deposit from this last Sunday, it's important to know that as you allocate the different revenue and expense accounts, that you are honoring the donations that you've received for your church to bless and use as God's purpose you. And as you have those bills out and you're using them to expense the codes and understand that you are utilizing your ministries, your departments are utilizing those funds, and making sure that you're good stewards and marking where they belong, and so that the Synergy team can be able to allocate them properly for you and be able to record for you and make sure that your board has solid financials that they can understand. And the other highlight I want to say is we have a clear, concise chart of accounts that we have gone over and over and made sure that we have made the best chart of accounts for you to both make it easy to record and also make it easy for your board to understand where the money is going, where the money came from, and how can we best use these funds so that they can make good, solid decisions based on the allocations with these new chart of accounts that you see before you. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jasmine and I am with your Synergy team. In this video, I'm going to introduce you to your chart of account list. Here is what your COA list looks like. First is the top portion up here that says income. Incomes are your church's revenues, money that is coming in. On the side, there are 4-digit numbers. These 4-digit numbers are called GL numbers. The second portion is expenses, money that leaves the church. And the third portion is tags. Tags are used to tell your Synergy team member what department the funds are coming in or out of. At the bottom here, there's donation purposes. This tab is used when you are processing your weekly deposits, and I will show you an example of that shortly. First, let me show you an example of when you would use the list most often. Here we have a utility invoice in the amount of $27.50. We need to write the GL number on this invoice before scanning it into the to be processed Dropbox folder. So what I will do is I will go back to my COA list. This will be money that is leaving the church because we are paying a bill. So I look for utilities. That number is 5200. The department that it's coming out of is administration. That number is 50. So I will write 5200-50 on the invoice. And you can see that's what we did here. Then I will drop this invoice into the to be processed Dropbox folder. You also need to do this process with automatic payment. Even though a bill is paid automatically from your bank, when you receive an invoice, we still need you to type AutoPay and the GL number on the invoice and put it in the to be processed Dropbox folder. This will help the Synergy team member properly record your expenses. You also need to use the COA list when issuing check. This is an authorization to pay form, also known as an ATP form. You can find this form in your permanent Dropbox folder. The ATP form is used when you need your Synergy bookkeeper to send out a paper check on your behalf, or when you have written a paper check from your church office and you need your Synergy bookkeeper to record it. Let's say I have a $500 honorarium check for a guest speaker that went to youth camp. I would take a copy of the check that I have written out to my guest speaker. I would scan a copy of that check attached to the ATP form. On the ATP form, you should have the date the check was written, The vendor is who you wrote the check to and their address. The GL account number is where is this money coming from, and we will refer to our COA list. I would go under expenses and look for the number for honorarium, which is 5420, and then the department is coming from Youth General. Going back to the ATP form, I would write 5420-054 right here, the amount of the check, $500, and the description, honorarium for Youth Camp Guest Speaker. Down here, you would put the total amount on the check, and then you would have your lead pastor or the treasurer sign the form. Again, you will send in a copy of the paper check with the authorization to pay form. If you want your Synergy bookkeeper to send out a paper check on your behalf, you would just fill out this form and put it in the to be processed Dropbox folder, and your Synergy bookkeeper will take care of it from there.
If you are issuing a paper check out yourself, it is important that you have a copy of the check with the ATP form. If you submit an ATP form without a copy of the check, your Synergy bookkeeper may assume that you want them to send the check out on your behalf. The ATP form helps your Synergy bookkeeper properly record your expenses.
For this section, I am going to show you how to use the COA list when processing your weekly deposits. For further instructions on how to process your weekly deposits, you can find a training video on the Synergy website. In this example, I have a check for $100 from Adam Jane. $50 is supposed to go toward tithe, and $50 goes towards kid donation. So as you can see, I put the date. Reference ID is check number or cash if it was a cash offering. Contact is who is the donation from or who is getting giving credit. And purpose is what is the donation for. This is where I would use my COA list. Going back to the COA list, you will click on Donation Purposes. We are looking for the GL numbers for tithe and kid donation. As you can see, those numbers are 001 tithe, 015 kids donation. So I know that the purpose is 001, $50, and 015, $50. Let's say I also have a check in front of me for $100 from Joan Sellers, and it's for registration for youth camp. First, I would put the date. The note would be the camper who is going. Check number. Who is writing the check, or who is this contribution from? The purpose code, I would go back to donation purposes, and I would look for the number for youth camp, which here is 23. And then I would put the amount. When you have a contribution that is non-tax deductible, you would type the amount that is non-tax deductible over here. For registration, that would be the full amount. If you are not sure, you can leave this column blank and your Synergy accountant will fill that in for you. And that's all for how you would use the COA list when doing your weekly deposit.
You will also use the COA list when submitting receipts for reimbursement or reconciling your credit card. You will refer to the COA list to find the proper GL code. Write that code on your receipt, then submit the receipt into the to be processed Dropbox folder. And that's all for the Chart of Account List video. If you have any questions or need clarification, please reach out to a Synergy team member.